Coming up on Faith and Frames.
We have a whole country fronting on social media.
I see so many like horrible photographs. Wow. You can ruin an entire roll of film.
If I want to go telephoto, I just...
Zoom right on in there, huh?
Or if I want to go wide, I just...
Can you do that a little closer to the mic? I love the...
Oh, you want the sound?
The motor.
ASMR right here. Ready?
Wow.
You want it to come back?
Interesting.
Oh, here. Let me give you an ASMR right here.
Oh, shoot. I saw that out the corner of my eye in the monitor over there, and let's just say...
Was it bright?
I believe it was overexposed for a moment.
It'd be okay. This one was not overexposed. This one will be a perfectly curated film at Pictor.
Let me go ahead and tell you what the audience wanted to see, though.
What?
Was not an overexposed screen. And I believe that's what 2 cameras just got. We'll have to see.
Time will tell.
We'll have to see. Time will certainly tell.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. So, speaking of time and telling and stories and whatnot, this one should be fun.
This one's going to be interesting.
It's definitely going to be interesting. You have an assortment of
toys.
It's almost like the stupid Darwin evolution thing you got going on here.
I was going to say it's like show and tell. It's like, it reminds me of elementary school, kindergarten, show and tell. I remember as a kid growing up, and it only happened one time because I was only in kindergarten once.
True.
So it only happened in kindergarten one time. It happened after that.
I don't think you get held back too often in kindergarten.
I'm sure it's happened somewhere. Anyways, I remember after Christmas, coming back from Christmas break, we were all encouraged to bring in our favorite present.
Oh, okay.
That's what this is reminding me of right now. I'm going back to that little moment sitting in Miss Spears' kindergarten class, going around our little carpet circle.
Yeah.
And bringing in our favorite gift from that year.
I too had Miss Spears, but I do not remember bring your gift to school. Bring your gift to school day. The thing that I remember the most outside of the nap times that I used to hate, which now I would love to have.
I wish I could have those back. What is nap time?
Is we had this bear that you got to take home.
I remember the bear. Yeah.
And you had to write a story about it. And
I remember the bear.
You know, what you guys did that night, those things. I remember that.
Nanette Spears was a gem.
Yeah.
She was a gem.
She actually had, well, I'm certainly not going to use the word pleasure. She had the experience, we'll say it that way, of teaching 3/4 of the Collins clan.
Oh.
She retired right before Kylie.
Oh, so she had Logan and Trey.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
We were all Miss Spears. Spears led.
I thought she retired shortly after me. Wow.
Nope. She, I think she retired not very long after Trey, though.
Okay. So Kylie didn't get to experience.
Kylie did not get Miss Spears. Yeah, I know.
Poor Kylie.
I would like to see that woman.
Yeah, she was a sweetheart.
Speaking of teachers, all right, I'm going to get your opinion.
Oh,
so maybe we've talked about this, maybe we haven't, but I'm currently Facebook friends with several of my past instructors.
Same.
Okay. If and when they interact with my posts and say like, oh, I like this picture or anything to that effect, and I respond, thank you. Like, for instance, the one that just came to mind, and she calls me out on it all the time, and I cannot let myself do it. Miss King.
Suzanne King.
Miss King. I actually had her for she moved up from 5th grade to 6th grade, so I had her 2 years in a row.
I had her in 7th grade.
But anyway, so she was Miss King, taught language arts, English. When she comments on my posts and I go to say something like, thank you, Miss King, she gets on to me and she says, Sue, please. And I'm like,
yes,
I can't let, you are Miss King to me.
That happened to me very recently in person, actually.
I can't.
With Miss King, but with another teacher.
I'm saying with like former coaches and stuff too. Like I can't, I don't know. There's still this barrier of respect, something that like I can't call you by your friend. I've always known that was your first name.
Yeah. I'm going to call this person out because his family, I believe, is a part of our audience, and it'll crack them up too. But Mr. Teague, Mr. Bill Teague,
Okay.
manager at Ingles.
Yeah.
I saw him the other day at Ingles.
Yeah.
And I just nonchalantly, as I was checking out,
How's Miss Teague?
Oh, no, I just said, how's Mr. Teague doing today?
Yeah.
He said, it's just Bill, but I'm great.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can't. I can't.
So the Teague clan out there, just know that Bill's great.
Like even when I see like Coach Murphy.
Yep. Still coach.
I'm not going to call the man Ben.
No.
Like he'd probably answer to Ben.
And
he'd
then he'd
probably
make you
expect
run.
me to call him Ben, but I can't. Like I just can't. And I guess part of that stems from early on. It was actually my 5th grade year in midget basketball at Doak. I had Coach White, Kevin White.
Yep.
And we ended up having to run if we did not. He was trying to teach us something. If we did not refer to him as Coach White,
just respect.
Yeah,
it's just a respect.
he was trying
for
to
your
teach us
elders type
something,
deal.
and wasn't Coach. It wasn't Coach
Right.
White. Wasn't Kevin.
Yeah.
Which a lot of us knew him as Kevin
Yeah.
because he'd been around. So it's like we just couldn't. It was
Right.
Coach White, and so part of it just stems from that lesson that I learned from calling him Coach White, and so the teachers are the exact same thing. Like I cannot. You're Miss Teague to me.
Yeah. Well, it's just a sign of respect for your elders.
Yeah. Well, and it's weird because outside of the realm
Mm-hmm.
of education, Miss King, it's not the first time Miss King has
Right,
requested
has
that I call her Sue.
Yeah.
And I've told her every time, and I'll probably continue to tell her
Mm-hmm.
every time. Like I just cannot call you Sue.
Yeah.
You're Miss King to me.
I see that.
You're Miss King to me. I've talked to other people about it, and they're like, "No, I won't have any trouble." I was like, "I don't know. Mentally, I've just got like I can't."
I still call you Mr. or Mrs.
Yeah.
or Miss, depending on your
Whatever.
whatever your surname is.
Can't do it. I don't know. I'd love to hear from our audience on that actually, because that's that's a bit of a polarizing.
That is polarizing. Do you still call your teachers by their teacher
when you
name?
see them out in public.
Or their first name?
Or on social media, like, can you let yourself,
I'd like to know.
I can't. I'm of the camp that no.
Comment down below if you're on YouTube, and if you're a audio audience, well, comment wherever.
Yeah. Send us a DM.
Send us a
I really
DM.
would like to know, because maybe I'm just the only idiot and weird person in the world that
Well, no, I mean,
can't let
right
the
here across
teachers
the
go.
table, I do it too. So it happens. It happens. Speaking of polarizing topics, we have a polarizing topic today, Captain.
Yeah.
We'll get into.
What's the best thing about Switzerland?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but the flag is a big plus.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Nailed that one.
Yeah.
Plus 10 kudos for that.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that.
A little less polarizing than what we're going to talk about, but
Less polarizing. That's a good one. I like that. I like
The flag's a big plus. You dang right it
pretty good.
is. Yeah.
I think they've got some pretty countryside too.
Yeah.
Hey, whoa. And they have the GOAT himself, Roger Federer.
He's Swiss?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Which one am I? Oh, I was thinking Nadal. He's Spanish.
Yeah. My favorite, Rafael Nadal. He's the bull. The Spanish
lefty?
bull. Yes. Yep, but Roger. Oh,
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Makes sense now, doesn't it? He's gorgeous, athletic, just the GOAT.
Interesting. Yeah, my father-in-law
There are some that
constantly
would argue that
reminisces.
Novak would be the GOAT now, but
Yeah, he's had a pretty stout run.
Novak's had a good run. I'll give him
Yeah. Definitely had a stout run. My father-in-law, my in-laws went to Europe and they toured a lot of the Alps.
that. I remember that.
And my father-in-law constantly reminisces and literally misses the mountainside and the countryside there, because it's just, I don't know, it's all in all of the photos I've ever seen.
It looks very grand.
It does, and it always looks like immaculate.
Yeah.
Like it's, you know what I'm saying? Like it
It looks
doesn't.
like you always have two seasons, because at the bottom of those mountains, it's always nice and sunny and beautiful and golden and warm. And then at the tops, you got snow.
Well, but like even
It's like picture perfect.
yeah, but it always feels like it's in place, and it doesn't feel as though like they have like, and maybe it exists somewhere, but if you're driving along here, you're going to see beauty, but you're also going to see like
You're gonna
grown
see
up
some
briar
dinge.
patches and stuff like that. I don't feel like that ever exists in anything that I've seen from over there.
Well,
It's
yeah.
always like pristine.
Well, and if you look at our mountains right now, which we're, just now getting in springtime, so we're still knocking off the winter, but like our winters are pretty ugly.
Yeah, they're pretty
Everything's
bland.
just dead and
They're-
brown and
yeah.
nasty.
They're pretty bland.
I don't feel like that happens with the Swiss.
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm not there to experience it in person, and I'm just living vicariously through what I see on social media. But
And we all know that can be a front.
and that's what I'm saying, Grant.
Do we have a whole country fronting on social media?
I don't know.
Well, actually, your FIL would argue that they're not fronting.
Well, I mean, they went in the summer, so they were seeing
Oh, okay. They're seeing the
obviously
best
a
of the
lush
best.
time as well too. So who knows?
The best of the
Who
best.
knows? Interesting. What's also interesting is I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsor.
Sponsor of today's episode. Oh, we have a guest in studio.
Yeah.
Hello. How's AB doing? Well, we're just a bunch of yahoos.
Yeah.
We're just a bunch of yahoos in here.
Yakking around.
Folks, this may or may not get cut, but we have Liberty Free Baptist royalty in the
we
studio
do.
right now, Mr. AB.
Yeah.
I've done turned the lights on in the sanctuary and opened the front door, so when you leave,
Just leave it.
alone.
Okay, we'll
All
leave
right.
her alone. We'll
We
do
appreciate you.
Later.
it. All righty.
Well, what
Sponsor.
what a glorious visitation that was.
He was so gentle.
Yeah. There it is.
That was nice.
Mr. AB. Okay. Sponsor for today's episode.
Yeah.
None other than
Whoop.
Animals West of Greenville, Tennessee. At Animals West, your pets are our passion. Our dedicated team offers personalized care, advanced treatments, and a warm, loving environment. Because at Animals West, every tale tells a story.
Yeah, it does.
Tony, Amanda,
Right.
and the crew down on the Newport Highway,
The gang.
thank you
Yeah.
for sponsoring this episode of Faith and Frames.
Yeah.
Thank you for sponsoring these two animals here at Motion Creative
Taking
Media.
care of us. Absolutely.
Taking care of us.
Like it.
Meat and taters, Jared. Get us to the meat and taters. You said we have a polarizing topic today.
Yeah, it's polarizing in the mostly in the photography world.
Yes, which we are a quote photography
Listen,
entity.
I certainly enjoy photography. It's
Sure do.
my first love, so to speak, in the arts realm. Film versus digital.
Ooh, this one is spicy.
Yeah, there's recently been a pretty good resurgence of film. Along with that has came some negatives. We can talk
Literally.
about that. Yeah, well, there you go. I see what you did there. In some cases. But there's been some not great things come from this resurgence that kind of gripes my gears or grinds my
Gripes
gears.
them or grinds them?
It's a gripe of mine, but it grinds my gears. So,
man.
film versus digital. So, I'd say most people of our age remembers either one of their parents having a Nikon or a Canon, something, a film photography
Or a disposable.
film. Yeah, that was going to be my next thing. Or disposables, right?
Disposables were big.
So that used to be, that coupled with like your Olin Mills,
Oh,
that was
man.
photography.
Yeah.
That was how you had a photo, was film.
Yeah.
That's how family trips got documented, was with film. We were of both camps growing up. We would dabble in the disposables, but my mom also had a Canon A1.
Which is now in your arsenal.
Yeah, I've got to find all of the pieces to it. We know it exists somewhere in the house, but we've not been able to put fingers on it. So, still anxious to see if I can uncover that, see if it works. That'd be kind of cool.
You said the A1?
The AE1, not the program. I have the program.
That's right. You have the program. Okay.
My
See, I have an
mom
A1.
had an AE1, so it looked just like mine.
Yeah.
Just didn't have
Just the program model.
program features. So, anyways, film. There's been a big resurgence. If you've spent any time on social media, you've probably seen people dabbling back with film.
Or trying to emulate the film
Well, now that's
aesthetic.
been something that's been a while, right? So,
Well,
like
yeah.
your Instagram filters, those things, a lot of them will even like name after a
Emulations.
film stock, right? So, like your filters that you're putting on top of your digital photo to make it film-esque, to have your grain, to mess with the colors, to because film had certain color characteristics.
Yes.
We've always been trying to emulate film with digital. You can get close, but I think a trained eye can typically spot the difference in like 99 times out of 100. Film versus digital. It's very polarizing.
So in what way right now do you think that film is polarizing? Because I know, and there's arguments that can be made for both. I mean, obviously with the forthcoming of digital photography, and I'll go ahead and say this, when digital first came out, it was pretty bad. I mean, it it took a while for digital cameras to get to the place to where they are like today, or even like 5 years ago.
Right.
We really started getting some good digital options.
Yeah.
I would say with like the Canon 5D Mark II,
Yeah, that
maybe
was,
even 5D Mark I. Like those were when digital cameras were finally to the point to where, because I know I have photographers in my family who refused to switch to digital because the first digital camera offerings were terrible.
Yeah, they weren't good.
They weren't terrible. So at this point in time, though, now we do have digital cameras that are great. That, you know, the dynamic range, if you know what that is just insanely good. They can retain so much highlight and shadow detail, whereas film struggles with some things like in the shadows. But why do people feel like there is a side that has to be taken? Because I've seen that recently on social media. There are so many folks that are like, I'm selling all my digital cameras to go back to film. Or I've had some people say, I'll never touch a piece of film. Like, why is it such a polarizing subject?
I don't know why people decide or make themselves decide that it has to be an either or thing. I'm personally, and I think you too, you as well, are of the camp of like, I enjoy both. Now, I think where people, I really don't though. Like it blows my mind. I don't know why it's so polarizing. Like why can you not just appreciate both of them? Because they're different.
Yeah,
they're different. Like it's still a photograph, and you're still like capturing light. You're capturing a moment.
Yeah.
But they're just different. And
so in what ways are they different though? Because at the end of the day, like the goal is to get a picture, a usable image.
Yeah, I mean,
but how are they different?
Well, they have pros and cons. They each have pros and cons, and you just kind of got to figure out like which cons you want to deal with, or which pros may be more worth it for you in a workflow scenario. But like, so the difficult thing with film today is cost.
Yeah, huge barrier of
is
entry.
Cost. It's cost because like in a 35 millimeter sense, you're gonna pay $8 to in some cases up to $15 just to buy a roll of film.
Try up to like $30 because Kodak's most expensive film stock, which is Ektachrome, is 25 plus tax.
Okay, so what he just stated was, is that a 24 or a 36?
That's a 36.
Okay, so for 36 possible
usable images,
good shots, it costs you $25 just to buy the roll of film,
just to buy those possibilities.
Yeah. So the issue with film, the biggest issue that I have with film, and what keeps me from doing more of it is just the cost.
Yeah.
And it's also a speed workflow thing. But like it costs money to buy the film.
Yeah.
You then have to hopefully manipulate your camera appropriately
to where you don't screw the pooch on.
To where you don't screw the pooch.
90%
because film
rolls
can't be exposed to light, and like it's a more sensitive process in that regard.
Yeah.
And then once you've expended all 24 or 36 exposures, you then have to either develop it yourself, which takes knowledge and chemicals, all of these things, or you pay to send it off to the lab to get it developed, and then you get it sent back to you via JPEGs, very high-res JPEG scans.
And sent back.
So that additionally costs. So like just a normal roll of like say Ultramax.
Yeah, cheap film.
It's pretty cheap film. Yeah, comparatively. By the time it was said and done, you've probably got $20 to $30 in the possibility of having 24 photographs.
Yeah.
And in my experience with film, I'm certainly not batting 1,000. So of a 24 roll, which is common, they're always in 24, 36, and 35 for whatever, and 35 millimeter.
Very rarely you'll find a roll that's like a 10-shot roll.
Oh, wow. I haven't come across that. So of a 24 roll, I can pretty well go ahead and like guarantee you at least 5 of them are going to be like straight trash.
Yeah.
Not usable. I messed something up. I was...
Yeah, the image just comes out brown.
Yes. Not
Just
good. Okay,
straight
so
poop
of
brown.
24, we're down to 19
Yep.
possible usable images.
I was gonna say, of those 19, like how many do you actually like enough to do anything with?
Right. So the workflow for film to me is just it's not. I don't do a lot of it because it is costly. Now
Yeah.
you can mitigate a lot of that if you want to develop and
Yeah,
scan
if you want to
in-house.
develop and scan in-house, which I'm currently working towards.
But again,
the
there's a
process.
cost associated with that too, right? You've got to learn the skills and the times for development, buy the chemistry sets, right? The chemicals.
Yep.
Then you got to have, which there's methods to scan.
I was going to say, I've been experimenting lately with a couple of, like, I guess we'll call them indie scanning methods, because if you don't have access to or don't want to fork out the dollars for an official, like an Epson V600 or an actual nice scanner,
Right.
There are options. Like I've been literally scanning film negatives with my iPhone as of late, just to mitigate scanning costs. And you can also scan with a modern digital camera. So that's where those two mediums are now meshing quite a bit because of the expense of film.
Yeah.
Barring expense, though, you mentioned the workflow. So we obviously know that film certainly long-term is more expensive than digital. Digital on the upfront, more expensive because digital cameras are now more expensive. You can buy a good used old film camera for anywhere between like literally $15 and however many dollars you want to spend. I have a $15 camera in my closet that is beautiful.
Right.
Beautiful little camera. Found it at an antique store.
Yeah.
So yeah, sky's the limit, and then the basement is the limit for cost on the actual camera.
Right.
Versus digital, where you're literally looking at thousands of dollars now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can. So for me, and I think had there not been a scan option, I would feel completely different about film. But for me, another big reason why I don't do more of it is simply because what I'm getting back is not a 4x5 or an 8x10.
Right.
Because that used to be how you got it.
Well, you can still get it that way, but it's going to cost you.
Right, but that was the only way to get it back in the day. You got your you got your negatives developed, and then it got printed.
Yep.
So you got a photo album, right? You had your literal photo albums. That's where you had your wallet photos, like all of those things. And I'm sure our super youthful audience probably has no idea what I'm talking about. But there literally used to be wallet size that you would carry around like family photos.
They're clicking away as we speak.
Yeah. It was a thing. And that was the thing. Like at grocery stores, you'd see somebody, it's like, oh, well, let me show you my grandbaby, right? Yep. Now we just show our phone.
Yeah, here's my phone album.
Or they've already seen it on Facebook or whatever. But so if it was more tactile in the sense of the payoff had to come to you in a print, I would probably be a little more apt to do it. But because it's already coming back to me in a digital form, I'm of the camp as like, I can way, way, way more cost effectively just shoot a digital image.
You can.
And
especially long term.
Yeah.
So
long term.
As you think about it, from a roll of film, like you said, we either get 24 or 36 possibilities. That's not even guaranteed exposures. Because knowing me, I'm going to botch half of those. But on a digital sense, like you can fill an SD card time and time and time and time and time again until it goes bad. Like maybe eventually that SD card goes corrupt.
Well,
but you're going to have so many more opportunities from that initial upfront purchase of digital.
Right.
So simply from a cost effective standpoint, the polarizing subject between the two, digital certainly more cost effective in the long run. Definitely
cost effective. I think the big draw though, and again, I think it just comes back to, I really think the big draw is nostalgia.
Yeah.
Film does have certain characteristics that I don't think they're
duplicatable. Not
like I said, you can get close.
You get close. You can emulate.
You can emulate. You can get close.
I don't think you can duplicate.
But I think it's more of a nostalgia thing. For instance, Preston, our buddy at Star Fitness, he reached out and he goes, "Hey, do you guys do anything with film?" We're like, "Yeah." He goes, "I think I'm wanting to start taking, like, I want to get a film camera and start taking photos of just daily life type stuff." And I was like, okay.
Whoa.
Well, so I started quizzing him. I was like, so why? Yeah. Why do you want to? Well, he goes, well, it's the look.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, look. All right, hear me out. I explained the price thing. I also explained the uncontrollable variables. You know, even if you've got a completely automatic Yashica,
like this little guy. Totally automatic.
You don't control the physical roll of film, like there could have been a defect
Right.
that you'll never know
Right.
until you go to get it developed,
Get
right?
it developed.
So we turned them on to Fuji's,
Yes. Like this one.
which
For all of
a
our
lot
viewers,
of them,
this is a Fuji.
a lot of them look retro. They have an older
Tactile. Hang on. Here's your ASMR.
So that'd be your f-stop, your aperture. So,
Very
but
tactile.
they have an older look to them.
Yeah.
That's how they design them.
Yeah. Here's a Fuji film camera, which is not an actual film camera, with an actual film camera.
Dang, I should have brought my little one in because it's.
I told you.
It's gray.
I told
but
you.
like it's gray and black. It almost looks like that Nikon.
There you go, audience.
But so we turned them on to Fuji
Yeah.
because Fuji is digital.
Yeah.
You can pick up used ones for easily sub 1K. Easily sub 1K.
All day long.
That's glass and everything.
All day long.
And they do a really good job of film simulation.
They do.
So straight out of camera, you can get a JPEG that has
A film look.
very close film characteristics. And I've actually done, we've actually done walks where we,
Yeah.
like, I had Ultramax in my film camera.
Yeah.
Shot the exact same composition with a recipe or a simulation.
Film simulation.
And they were close.
Yeah, they get close.
They were close. So bang for buck, speed, controllable variables. We turned him on to Fuji.
Yeah.
Because what he was after was the look and the feel.
I was gonna say for someone like Preston, I have to compartmentalize because my hyperfixation brain cannot, for me, let go of the process of film. So you mentioned, workflow's faster and that's attractive. For me, or the workflow with digital's more attractive because it's speedy. For me, the workflow with film is so attractive because it is not fast at all.
Certainly a slower thing.
It's a slower, literally from the shooting all the way to getting an image physically in front of your eyes. I mean, I have like 20 rolls of film in my closet right now that I have no clue what's on them. I've shot them. They're expended. They're ready to go be developed.
Yeah.
But I've just not sent them off to be developed, or I've not taken the time to develop them myself. But for me, that is so exciting. It's almost like Christmas because I have 20 presents waiting in the closet for me right now.
You may have 20 nightmares.
I might have 20 nightmares, but again, it's the not knowing that's so attractive to me. And sure, you can probably look back through the time that I spent shooting those rolls, and if none of them come back, you can say that it's wasted.
Yeah.
Certainly an argument for that, but I would say the experience alone, for me, that's really what it is with the film. Of course, it's the look. It's a look that cannot be duplicated.
Right.
Certainly can be emulated, but can't be duplicated. But for me, it's that physical, tactile process that keeps me coming back, even though I know it's ungodly expensive.
Yeah, it's super expensive. So for me, because of the speed, because of all these other variables, like cost, like the finite 24 exposures, it slows me way, way, way down to the point of, and it's almost to a fault. So it's like I either need to like give myself a lot more grace to shoot something that, I may otherwise like him and haw about, like, oh, do I want to take a photo of this? Do I not? I've only got 24.
Yeah.
Just shoot it. Whereas most of the time I don't. So what that does for me, even on like a roll of 24, what I'll end up doing is I'll end up having like 3 or 4 different walks on the same roll of
where
film.
You'll go back. And I actively do that.
Well, and so what it ends up being is so much time. It may take me 6 months to shoot a roll of 36
You're certainly
or
a
something.
slow film shooter.
So it's like
we can agree
when
on
I
that.
when I do go and get that developed, it truly is a surprise. I don't remember what all I put on this roll of film. Let alone did I get my settings right.
So this is what's hilarious is because for me it's a surprise because I blast through them so fast that I'm on to the next roll before that one's had time to quit smoking. It's funny the different mentalities, even with the same medium. Like we both shoot film, but we shoot it so differently. You shoot it very conservatively.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys saw at the beginning of the episode, I just blasted a film shot of the inside of this room here.
Might as well.
But yeah, certainly with digital, I mean, I can, going back to tactile, just fire off It's like a machine gun.
Yeah,
This is
you can.
ASMR today.
Well, so aside from the physical
I was going to say, aside from workflow.
speed of the film process, and because I don't get it developed, and I don't know, part of it's a control thing too. Like I would almost rather develop it myself, because I have heard horror stories of sending rolls of film off, getting your scans back, being very, very, very unhappy with the results. And so what I dislike about that is
we've all had that happen.
I don't control that.
Right.
And so it's like, maybe the image would have been bad anyways, but you can ruin an entire roll of film if you don't develop things properly. You mess the times up. You didn't adhere to. Listen, I pushed it a stop. I pulled it like whatever. Yeah. You can mess the whole roll up.
Yeah.
To where even once you get it into a digital JPEG,
and those memories are gone.
You can't even edit it to where it would have been
to where it's fixed.
To where it would have been fixed.
Right.
It's like that. I also don't like that aspect. So like with digital, for instance,
full control.
You know right then and there if you botched it.
Yeah, you have full control.
The feedback's instant. Like, oh no, I messed up. Yeah. Let me reshoot that. So yeah, it's one of those things where I didn't grow up shooting film like professionally. And a lot of it probably just has to do with not having enough reps to feel confident to do it on, I don't know, like paid work or something.
Or on a higher volume.
mentality.
I think I've shot, funny enough, I think I've shot one. As much film as I do shoot, I've shot one piece of client work on film. And I was actually happy with the results. And that was when I was pretty early on into film too.
Yeah, I was there on that shoot. You actually shot digital backups.
I did shoot digital backups. Just
to cover your butt there.
Just in case. Yeah. Just in case.
I mean, it was a senior session. You don't want to give a crappy senior session.
Right. You don't want to give a crappy senior session. But I was happy with those results. But going over to then like the control aspect of things. So we've already talked about the workflow between the two. The workflow between film and digital, obviously slower for film. The control, though, with digital, and maybe this is the case that you're making for digital, is that other than the speed, the reason that you prefer it as your medium, or which side of the tracks do you even fall on? Are we polarized in this subject?
Tune in next Monday for part 2.